In this forecast, a widespread severe weather event is coming to the United States with damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. And we also have a threat for very heavy rainfall and flash flooding as well through the weekend. We have a tropical weather update for you at the end of the video. And so make sure to subscribe to the channel so you have daily weather forecast breakdowns. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media. Turn on post notifications so you're notified for future videos and live streams. And again, I definitely appreciate you being here. So let's look here at the severe weather threat this evening. We have a slight risk of severe weather across eastern New Mexico and West Texas, a marginal risk from East Texas all the way up towards areas of Detroit in Michigan. So we have a large area of at least isolated severe weather coverage as we go through the evening hours. Damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour will be our primary threat, followed by quarter-size hail, and that will be primarily down here in the slight risk area in New Mexico and Texas, but there is a 2% chance of tornadoes in eastern New Mexico and West Texas, especially the western Texas Panhandle, and in addition to a 2% chance from Indianapolis down there into southern Illinois, including the St. Louis area in Missouri, as we had a tornado warning earlier on here this afternoon. Let's look at the southern plains and desert southwest vicinity for our scattered severe thunderstorms. This is our slight risk area, and notice at 6 o'clock here we got thunderstorms developing in New Mexico and Colorado, and as we continue through the evening hours, those are going to press eastward into the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle, and these could pose a risk for damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail. Hail could potentially be up to half-dollar size in some of the strongest storms near the Amarillo area and maybe Lubbock, with the more instability stronger down here. And then as we go deeper into the evening hours, into the overnight after midnight, we're going to see repeated rounds of showers and storms moving across Lubbock, Amarillo, and taking a run at far western Oklahoma. So severe weather will be a concern, again, with damaging winds, large hail, and an isolated tornado with some of those storms. Up here to the Ohio Valley, southern Great Lakes region, we already have some thunderstorms continuing across northern Indiana, southern Illinois, into southeastern Missouri. These will continue to move from southwest to northeast, so this will actually enhance the flooding threat, as a lot of these will be back building in Missouri, moving over same areas in Illinois, Indiana, into northwest Ohio and southern lower Michigan, and this could bring about the potential for some flash flooding, in addition to some damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail, and a very low but non-zero tornado threat at 2% in these areas. And as we go after midnight, a lot of these storms will be pressing into Indiana and Ohio with, again, a continued flash flooding threat, so be watching out here for any flooded roadways. Never drive on a flooded roadway, never a good idea. Here's some of the rainfall totals we could be seeing here. Grand Rapids, Detroit, down here into Fort Wayne, Gary, and Indianapolis, Mount Vernon, Illinois, Effingham, all the way down here into St. Louis. We could be seeing a widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain with isolated 3-inch totals, where the heaviest thunderstorms train over the same areas here later on through the evening and overnight, so definitely watching out for flash flooding. Going into tomorrow, on Thursday, June 5th, we have a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 on the risk scale in eastern New Mexico, West Texas into Oklahoma, and southern Kansas. That's where scattered severe weather will be possible, but severe weather along the Ohio River all the way up to the northeast and Maine included. We have a low end 1 out of 5 marginal risk in the dark green, where isolated severe thunderstorms will be possible. Again, tomorrow, primary risk will be for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts here, especially in the yellow shaded color in the southern plains. And then we see the potential for some hail that could be significant, where you see the black outline here, such as southeastern Colorado, southwest Kansas, and the Oklahoma Panhandle. And then back here into West Texas, we do have the potential of seeing up to baseball-size hail as we go through tomorrow, and an elevated tornado threat, a dry line setup here across the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, into southwestern Kansas. Have a 5% chance of tornadoes there and a 2% chance further east. This includes big cities of Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Fort Smith, Elk City, and El Reno, where you're going to be keeping an eye on that, all the way down to Midland there in Texas, where we have a 2%. In the brown, 5%, Amarillo, Lubbock, all the way up toward Woodward, Oklahoma, we have the chance, again, 5% chance of tornadoes. Here are the dew points as we go into mid-afternoon tomorrow, ahead of the dry line into the mid-60s, and that will provide plenty of instability, over 2,000 joules per kilogram of instability for thunderstorm development. So early on Thursday morning, 6, 7, 8 a.m., we're going to see the remnants of tonight's storms continuing across the Texas Panhandle. Heavier rain showers are going to be possible, in addition to some winds, hail, and a very, very small tornado threat. As we go deeper into the morning, those storms will fade. We'll have a period midday of some dry weather, and that means our instability is going to start to grow. Our moisture is going to start to advect northward. And then here we have supercells developing on a scattered basis, several of them from Oklahoma all the way up there into Kansas, Colorado, eastern New Mexico, all the way down here into West Texas, including the Texas Panhandle. These are singular storms, so tornadoes are going to be a big deal tomorrow compared to today. And we have the threat for some damaging 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts and hail. Some of these hailstones could be up to baseball size. Now, after midnight, we're going to see a cluster or line of thunderstorms develop in southern Kansas. This will drop through northern Oklahoma, eventually reaching the Oklahoma City area and Tulsa, and this could bring widespread damaging wind gusts over 70 miles per hour, in addition to, again, a tornado threat and hail threat as these storms move to the southeast into Oklahoma into the early morning hours on Friday. This is the maximum updraft helicity tracks. Basically what this shows is the brighter the color, the stronger the updraft will be, and you can correlate a strong updraft to the potential of seeing those strong damaging winds, those large hailstones and tornadoes. We have two modes here, right? We have thunderstorm clusters from Kansas into portions of northern Oklahoma with widespread damaging winds and attendant hail risk and tornadoes, but more of a tornado risk here with more singular supercells further off to the west into Colorado, eastern New Mexico, West Texas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and southwestern Kansas along the dry line, and that will elevate the tornado risk with an addition to damaging winds and hail. Now, going into Friday, June 6th, we have another day of severe weather elongated from portions of Amarillo all the way over to Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, and Knoxville, all the way over there into Huntsville, Alabama, Lexington, Kentucky, Paducah, large area with a slight risk there on Friday, June 6th. Saturday, June 7th, similar areas, maybe just a touch further south, so we're talking the Red River Valley here, Dallas, we're talking areas near Fort Sill, Texarkana, Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Shreveport, Jackson, Atlanta, Birmingham, all the way over here to Columbia, South Carolina. And so far for Sunday, predictability for the Storm Prediction Center is too low. The confidence isn't there, but I am confident as we get into Sunday, we're going to have an upgraded area of at least a marginal, maybe slight risk of severe weather as we go to the latter half of the weekend. So here we go on Friday. We got those thunderstorm clusters that'll just continue to drop from northwest to southeast, bringing the threat for damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes, in addition to very heavy rainfall, which could cause some flash flooding. As we go into Sunday, there's the thunderstorm activity in the Dixie Alley, southeast, and the Carolinas that could bring some severe weather. Again, right now, confidence isn't high enough for the Storm Prediction Center to add an area right now because we're still a few days out, but as we get closer, Sunday, the confidence could grow for severe weather down here. And then a couple upper-level lows across Ontario down here into the upper Midwest could bring a cold front through with some showers and non-severe thunderstorms as we go through Sunday afternoon on June 8th. Overall, here's the rainfall between now and Monday morning, June 9th. Very heavy rain here into Texas and Oklahoma up through the Ohio River Valley and then stretching over through to the Dixie Alley into the southeast. A couple different areas where we could see some very heavy flooding rain. Central Oklahoma, okay? This is a lot of asphalt, right? Oklahoma City, we have a lot of people here, a lot of asphalt, so runoff from rainfall is definitely a possibility. 3 to 6 inches worth of rain between now and Monday morning, June 9th over here. And then looking at the eastern Carolinas, we're talking Wilmington, the Norfolk area, Raleigh, over into Myrtle Beach and Charleston. We could be seeing widespread 3 to 6 inches of rain here as well, which could cause some flash flooding, especially with the hilly terrain in the low country of South Carolina. That is definitely a possibility. Now, as we go into the middle of next week, we're going to have a lot of instability starting to build across portions of the central United States, especially once we get to Father's Day weekend, and that could bring thunderstorm clusters off the northwest flow that develop in the Dakotas and Minnesota and drop from northwest to southeast, and could bring us the potential of even a derecho. A derecho is a fast-moving line of thunderstorms producing widespread damaging winds, sometimes hurricane force over 75 miles per hour, and in extreme instances, the most intense derechos can produce widespread straight-line winds over 100 miles per hour, in addition to a hail and tornado risk, and they obviously can bring torrential rains as well. We're going to be watching that toward Father's Day weekend, something we're keeping an eye on. It's not a guarantee, but definitely a setup that is favorable for derecho development across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley there toward the middle of June. Overall, here's the rainfall during that 7-day period between Monday, June 9th, and Monday, the following week, June 16th. Heaviest rains up near the low track there along the U.S.-Canadian border, and then down here near the Gulf Coast where we're going to see numerous rounds of showers and thunderstorms that could lead to multiple inches of rainfall and some flash flooding. Now let's look at our temperatures here as we go into Thursday, June 5th. The 90s down here in portions of Texas and along the Gulf Coast, 80s and even some 90s all the way up there in the Northeast. Record highs are possible there in Maine into portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. We're at 100 there in Phoenix. Then as we go into Friday, we have 102 in Phoenix, hundreds down there in South Texas, 90s along the Gulf Coast, refreshing air in the upper Midwest, into the 60s and 70s there for Friday. Saturday, we warm up a touch there across the plains, especially the north central plains and the upper Midwest from the 70s into the 80s. And then as we go into the end of the weekend, we're going to see record highs back across the West. And then down here in Texas, where the Rio Grande and even Phoenix could be seeing highs near 110 degrees once we close out the weekend there on Sunday, June 8th. Now we are tracking something here in the East Pacific. The National Hurricane Center has upped the odds to an 80% chance of tropical development. That could be a tropical depression, tropical storm or hurricane here over the next 7 days. Pretty good odds here from the National Hurricane Center. Let's look at two models. Here's the European model, and as we go to late this week, especially this weekend, looks like quick tropical depression or a weak tropical storm may develop, but it's going to have limited residence time in the warmer water of the East Pacific. Once it presses westward, it's going to enter into some cooler water and less favorable conditions for development, so that means by Father's Day weekend, it will really start to weaken out. The GFS model is showing the same thing here as well, with a bit of a stronger bias to the system. We'll keep an eye on that once we go here into the weekend, but right now we're looking at probably just a tropical depression or just a tropical storm. Now, beyond that, toward Father's Day weekend, we have a second system we may need to watch here, a little bit closer to the coast of Mexico in the East Pacific. This could bring some heavier rains to the southern side of Mexico and near the coastline, and this could be a more formidable storm. It is showing up on the European model, and it is showing up on the GFS model. So both of the operational models are showing it. So something is worth watching in the East Pacific Ocean here, tropical activity once we get into the 14th, 15th, and 16th there of June, which is really around Father's Day weekend, and that will keep you updated here on the channel. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to give it a like, a thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel as we will have daily weather forecast breakdowns for you right here, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. Turn on post notifications so you are notified for future videos and live streams, and I'll see you all in the next video.